It's our last episode before WrestleMania. And Supercard of Honor. NXT. It's a big wrestling weekend, people. And we got a heck of a lot to talk about, so get comfortable. Pour yourself a glass or whatever. Pack those bowls. Sit back and relax. Because it's another hour with me. Talking about wrestling. Alright, let's do this. Woo! Wow. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Smells Like Wrasslin, episode 58. March 29th. Starting to feel like spring. Awesome. I went, I actually like seeing the sun still out when I get out of work, so, there you go. Yeah, Doom's packing that bowl. There you go, buddy. Alright, so we have a lot to talk about. So, obviously, SmackDown on Friday will be the go-home show for SmackDown for WrestleMania. The go-home show for, Raw happened already this week. Tonight's Dynamite technically was the go-home show for Supercard of Honor, but really ROH has its own show, so they already had their deal. I still need to subscribe to that, actually, so I could start reporting on it and talking about it, because then I would know what the heck the go-home show was like for Ring of Honor. But it's been relatively normal-ish, in the wrestling season. I mean, if you want to take what's been going on with CM Punk and you want to make that news, I guess that's okay. And then the response earlier this week from Jon Moxley. I don't know. Who fucking cares, man? CM Punk is a bum. He's old, all right? He's injury prone. He's had 2 major injuries in the 1 year he was with AEW. Yes, he's one of the more popular wrestlers in the world. Yes, he's probably one of the better talkers on the mic right now. But it's like, I don't know, like AEW doesn't need CM Punk. You know what I mean? I mean, would it be nice for the boost in the ratings that he would bring. Sure, I guess from a business standpoint, yeah. But it's just like right now, I mean, look at it. Right now, all the 4 pillars are being pushed. They're getting matches. They're getting pushed towards a championship match. I just feel like people who should be being showcased are being showcased. But, you know, they're going to put people who pop ratings on TV, and Punk is going to be one of them, so they're going to give him a lot of television time. I just don't think it's worth it anymore. I mean, he was pissed off at WWE and left there. He was pissed off at AEW. He's still under contract with AEW. So I feel like maybe it's possible that they might have him come back in some capacity. I mean, otherwise it was pretty much a gigantic waste of money on Tony Khan's part. I mean, where the fuck has CM Punk been at all? He's gone. Do you believe what Punk said about what happened between him and Shawn? No. I don't know what's going on with Punk, but that dude's got like some mental problems, I think. You know what I mean? I mean, I think maybe being strict. I mean, no one should be sober for their entire life. You know what I mean? And if you want to know what the downside would be, just look at CM Punk, because that motherfucker is losing his fucking mind. You know, I mean, is he on Kanye level? I'm not sure, but he's been saying some wild shit. All right. Listen, like at All Out, there is a way, like if he had grievances with the company, regardless of whether or not any of us think it was justified or any evidence supporting his claims, the place to do it was not at the post-media scrum right after the pay-per-view. I mean, like, I'm sorry. I mean, that just shows just the biggest, that's just a huge disrespect to the company. You know what I mean? It undoes all the goodwill that he did in the first year that he was with AEW. You know what I mean? It's just, it just ruined it. It ruined it. And if he would have done it differently, I would have different feelings about Punk. But the guy decided to air all of his dirty laundry in front of what's worse, in front of wrestling media, who are overwhelmingly a big fucking joke. All right? All you had in that room was kids, podcasters, and marks. And that's pretty much it. And of course, and it was their fucking field day. You know how many people made money off of CM Punk having a meltdown? A lot of fucking people made money. A lot of people made money. You want to know who didn't come out on top throughout all this? The fans. All right? So I could give a fuck about who made money. All right? But there were definitely people in the wrestling media who fucking made money off of this story. 100%. All the thumbnails were Punk this, Punk that. So everyone got viewership. Everyone got clicks and likes and subscribes and all that fucking bullshit. And guys got subs to, you know, their paywalls and their newsletters and all this bullshit. So everyone was feasting on that. All right, Punk definitely made a lot of people money, but the fans are the ones who got fucked over. And you know what? I think the public sentiment towards AEW after that point has soured, and they're still trying to recover from that to this day. All Out happened almost a year ago, right? August of last year, if I'm not mistaken. August or September, early September. All right? We're about to hit the beginning of April right now. And they're still recovering. AEW is doing almost consistently over 1 million views. That has since dropped since All Out, since Punk has been gone. Now, I guarantee you, if they get Punk back on television, they're going to pop a rating because everyone's going to want to know what's going on. So I don't know. Do I think he's coming back? No. I don't think so. But if there is an inkling for him to come back as a businessman, they're going to bring him back. They're going to bring him back because of the eyes being brought on the product. And you know what? Here's what I would say. If they do decide to bring CM Punk back, you better have storylines stacked up for the entire card. The entire card, all right? Because this is not the CM Punk show. This is not the time to dump all of your creative juices into one guy and one storyline. This is the time that you take all the additional eyes that are coming onto your product and you just start putting out banger matches in every single division. I don't care who's had wins and losses. Just have the best wrestlers go out there and put out banger matches. Have the crowd going nuts. Have all these fans see all this incredible stuff and the crowd going nuts and great storytelling in the ring. And then after that, start worrying about the actual, like, storytelling. Get them drawn in by the wrestling in the ring, because these people can't act their way out of a paper bag, all right? You're not going to draw fans based on the acting ability of wrestlers, I think. Or just not solely on the acting ability of wrestlers. It's going to come down otherwise to the in-ring stuff, because every single major focal point happens in the ring. It's all in-ring related. It's the center of it all. It's a pro wrestling show. Wrestling is going to be the main character on the show outside of any other character. All right? Yeah, Process is right. AEW is absolutely fine about Punk. Process says in the chat, AEW is fine without Punk. AEW beat NXT without Punk. Their first 2 years on television, they were fine without Punk. That's 110% correct. All right? AEW was doing absolutely awesome, not with CM Punk not around. All right? They were bringing in awesome people, all this kind of shit. They brought in, we had Adam Cole, we had Daniel Bryan, like a lot of cool people came in. Good stuff is happening. AEW has been fine without Cody too. Notice how Cody left and they were still doing $1 million, and then they got Punk and they were still doing $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, the company has a very staunch, loyal fan base. You know what I mean? I would say, like, that 800, 900,000 group of people coming in each week, like, that's the hardcore AEW fan base. That's the fan base that's going nowhere. That's the equivalent of, like, Monday Night Raw's, like, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 million that hasn't gone anywhere except during the NFL season. When the NFL season comes around, they're hovering below, like, 1.5. They got 1.3, 1.4. So there's a big group of the WWE fan base that the second football comes around, they're dropping everything and they're watching football. You know what I mean? And now, an argument could be made that storylines as big as what's going on with the Bloodline could actually be a draw that could, maybe buffer that sting that Monday Night Football gets. Because let's be real, no matter how good the storyline is, nothing's going to compete with the NFL. The NFL owns all. They are the ratings leader. You know what I mean? Regardless of whether or not they've been getting, it probably has been getting lower year after year, just like everyone else. Because everyone's got their eyes on a million different streams and a million different services, that it's not just television. Television right now is just another service to subscribe to. It's just a service that everyone's subscribed to. Just like how when Netflix came out, that was the thing to subscribe to. Most everyone, if you talk to them, has Netflix. You know, that was the basis of everything else that came after it. Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Peacock, Paramount, Shudder, Crunchyroll, everything that came behind it, like Netflix was that model. You know what I mean? So, there's always going to be that, like, just that core group that just doesn't go anywhere. And like, that's just the way that it is. You know what I mean? Now, yeah, that's pretty, I don't know where I was actually going with that, but that's pretty much it. Anywho, so I'm liking the card for Mania. There's some things I could kind of care less about. Now, the Rey versus Dominic match, I expect that to be actually good in ring. To be quite honest, like, I don't really give two shits about the storyline. I know a lot of people who are, who are fans of WWE, they're saying that this is like one of like the better storylines. That's fine. All right. I just don't, Dominic is a fun character. The whole prison thing, he's funny. But, like, I've never been like, damn, Dominic Mysterio is awesome in the ring. You know what I mean? I never got that feeling from him that I got from, like, Hook when Hook had his debut. When Hook had his debut, like, no one knew what the fuck he could do. Nobody. And then he went out there and he was just suplexing people and he was so crisp and so poised. The problem that, the real problem with Dominic Mysterio is that he came up during the Vince regime. And Vince can't book for shit. Vince is a fucking moron creatively, The well's gone dry, people. The well is fucking gone dry. WWE is a success in spite of itself just because it's just almost too big to fail. You know what I mean? So, Dominic, I have to try not to hold the beginning part of his in-ring career against him because Vince sucks. You know what I mean? And do you think that Dominic was having creative control over his character? No. So I'm not going to hold it against the kid. I'm going to hold it against that fucking old psychopath Vince. So, I'm not as like into the story. I just hope that the in-ring story is good. I just hope they have a great wrestling match. Rey Mysterio is not a bad wrestler. He's Rey fucking Mysterio. That's why he's in the well, I can't even say that's why he's in the Hall of Fame, because the WWE Hall of Fame, in my opinion, is a fucking joke. Like, anyone could get in, you know? Drew Carey is in the Hall of Fame. Who fucking gives a shit? So, I kind of want this to be the moment where I'm like, all right, because of this match, if I ever saw Dominic Mysterio in the ring, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and watch the match. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Every single time that kid comes into the ring, I honestly, like, they've given me nothing to care about him. Nothing. So, the storyline, whatever, it's what gets them to Mania. Some people might like it. I don't care. I'm still interested in the match because I do think that this probably will be one of the better matches of Dominic Mysterio's in-ring career. And I feel like if this is going to be his coming out party, then so be it. If he's going to beat his father at WrestleMania, or who fucking knows? Maybe they're going to have Rey Mysterio win. I mean, who knows? But I'm not too sure. The IC title match I'm interested in. It's going to be Gunther and Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. I'm always of the opinion that it should have been a one-on-one match just to give Sheamus. I mean, Sheamus and Gunther have had amazing matches. So them together, I'm not going to be left wondering, like, all right, is this guy someone who I think is going to put on a good match? Like, I don't have to think that because they already put on good matches. The only reason I think that Drew is in the mix is because I think Drew is there to take the pin. I think they're going to have Gunther go in. I think Gunther's, like I said, I've been saying this before, Gunther's going to be the shadow that is going to be looming over Cody Rhodes' title reign until Gunther eventually beats Cody for the belt and becomes the world champion. That's what I think. And then, like, Imperium becomes, because, like, they always like to make a heel with a faction or group, like a champion. It just always seems to work out. I mean, look how well it's working for Roman Reigns. So I could definitely see Gunther being the next champ after Cody. And the way you do that is you protect Gunther, just like you protected Cody. Cody hasn't lost since he's come back from, since he came back at WrestleMania. So, granted, a lot of that time he was injured, but, he's still, Jesus, I don't know how I can still hear that airplane on my headphones, but whatever. But Cody's been undefeated since he got here, so he's been protected. So protect Gunther. You should be protecting this is how champions are built. No matter if they're heels or faces, you end up protecting them. You end up, the crowd gets conditioned to see this guy is going to just beat everybody. You know what I mean? Process, you think Drew's going to win? Oh, I don't know, dude. It's Sheamus' time. It's the one belt that Sheamus hasn't gotten. It officially makes him a Grand Slam champion. He was tag team champions when he was with the Bar. He was a world champion because he beat Cena for it. He's been a United States champion, definitely. It's Sheamus' time. You know what I mean? I think Drew might eventually be the guy. I think Drew might end up if he's not already in SmackDown, he's going to end up going to SmackDown when, here's what I think. If they split the belts and SmackDown ends up having a champion, and let's say they do what I think they're going to do, they're going to have a tournament, Roman ends up winning the tournament, he becomes champion again, he runs roughshod over SmackDown, but I don't think he has like a long title reign. Maybe he has like a big pay-per-view to big pay-per-view run. So all those like PLEs that they have in the middle, either he doesn't have matches or he ends up winning them. And then he drops it to a guy like Drew. All right. Because Drew was kind of poised. I mean, that match at Clash, I mean, an argument could be made that Drew could have won that night and they could have crowned him and that would have been his moment. I mean, the build was good. He was in front of his hometown. He was in his home fucking country. Like that would have worked. That would have worked big time. So an argument could still be made that Drew could be like a great babyface champion. You know what I mean? But I think maybe they might wait on making Drew babyface champion until Gunther wins and becomes heel. But I mean, that's a long freaking time because I think Cody's going to hold on to that belt for quite some time. I'd be shocked if he held it for less than a year, but I would be okay if he held it for like 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, not every champion has to have a mega reign. I think what the WWE needs to do is start conditioning fans to stop thinking that a reign less than like 900,000 days or some bullshit is something to look down at, because you need to get them conditioned to the fact that there's going to be champions coming in and out. That's how you keep the creative juices flowing and the creative storylines flowing. Like I've been saying before, Roman is a creative dam, you know? And I think a big deal about why they couldn't really book Cody to do much of anything, because Cody is a creative dam. Cody does not want to go heel. Cody wants to go babyface. Cody wants to take the backstage stuff and flip it around and turn it and make him look like a good guy. Cody should have gone heel when everyone was booing him. And I think and the second he would have gone heel, people would have cheered him. People booing you isn't necessarily a referendum on you. It just might be a referendum on where they're taking your character. The character of Cody Rhodes, people didn't want another Cena. You know what I mean? Like, you know who needed a Cena? The WWE, because they had Cena was gone. They had no actual credible baby faces, and all they had was a mega heel who beat literally everyone in the company, Roman Reigns. All right? So, like, Cody, for all his talk about, you know, being a company guy, he couldn't do the one thing that I think the company really needed him to do, which was to go heel, go back on his word, and actually go and challenge for the AEW title. You know what I mean? Like, that stipulation, in the history of stipulations, that was the dumbest fucking one I've ever seen. Cody Rhodes saying within his own company that he would never be able to challenge for the AEW title again. For what? To prove what? We didn't need any proof that he was who he was. He helped create AEW. The proof that we needed was for him to be the guy that a company needed. And to be honest, the guy that a company needs is someone who's just like, yeah, I'll do that. Yes. Okay, sure. But no, he couldn't do that. So it's his own fucking fault. Obviously, another match that we're all interested in is going to be, two matches actually. We'll group them together because they're all kind of the same storyline. Kevin and Sammy versus the Usos. Cody versus Roman. Obviously, I think that WrestleMania is going to be, if you're going to put an asterisk on it, it's going to be the fall of the bloodline. This is the time for the Usos to drop the belts. This is the time for Roman to drop the belt. Anyone thinking that Roman should still be champion after WrestleMania, I'm sorry, but I just don't fucking agree with you. I don't fucking agree with you. I think it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea, all right? I can't say it's a dumb idea because Roman has been a very successful champion. People still love him. He's still going to have his fans. And I don't think that the WWE is going to suffer mightily with Roman Reigns being the champ longer. Just because WWE seems to be bulletproof. They just put out whatever and just, you know, there are people that just like the way that the WWE does things. So even if Roman was champion, you know, everything would be fine. But I think that if they want to get some of those lapsed fans that went over that became hardcore NXT fans, which ended up becoming the hardcore AEW fan base, if you want to try and get those fans to start watching with the, and, you know, regularly, if you want to get a portion of that 800 to 1 million fans that AEW is siphoning on Wednesdays, you need to start doing better stuff in terms of storytelling. You need to build stars. There needs to be people who are holding belts and people moving up and moving out and going along in the cycle of creativity. And the way that happens is Roman dropping the belt. It has to start somewhere. It might as well start with the guy who hasn't lost since he's come back to WWE, Cody Rhodes. The crowd fucking pops huge for his song. They love him, all right? They haven't turned on him, you know? Treat his feuds with respect. Don't have him coming out there and speaking platitudes against every fucking person that he faces. Maybe now that he's a champion, he should wrestle more and talk a little bit less. And save the talking for the big feuds. Like I said, save the talking for the 3 big acts of every title run. Act 1, when you win the title. Act 2, probably a feud or some sort of major threat to the championship. Act 3, you lose the title. He should save all that promo stuff for his Act 2, who I think is going to be Seth Rollins. And then he's going to save a little bit more of that for Act 3 against Gunther. Because let's be real, Gunther isn't that much of a talker. He doesn't cut long promos. So if this is the time for someone to carry someone else in promo to land, it's time for Cody. But think about this. Think about every single week Cody going out there and having a long drawn out whatever the fuck he calls a promo with him crying and talking about Dusty and history and how he's from undesirable to undeniable. Everyone thinks that's all well and good, but think of that every single week, month after month, week after week. You know, it's going to get to the point that by the time he faces Gunther, and Gunther's not going to be a guy who talks very much, and Cody's going to keep on talking, it's going to be another feud in which Cody talks a lot. And you want to know what's going to happen? People are going to start cheering for Gunther because they're going to be like, we've had enough of this guy. So Cody is just better off in small doses, man. He's better off in small doses. As soon as he wins that title belt, do exactly what they did. Put him on a Roman schedule. Put him on a fucking Roman schedule and have him be just an attraction guy so that he's not played out. And do the same thing with the other brand's champion. I don't know if Cody's going to end up being the champion of SmackDown or the champion of Raw, but whatever champion he's not the brand of, you give it to us in drips and drabs and you don't have these guys get played out. Because that's what happened with Cody. Cody and his fucking, his blue collar babyface promos and shit, it wore on the audience. We were just like, enough. And if you think that that's impossible for that to happen to him in the WWE, you're fooling yourself. Bianca versus Asuka, couldn't give a shit. Charlotte versus Rhea, couldn't give a shit. The tag title match could give even less of a shit. With Lita and Becky Lynch and whoever they end up challenging. Damage Control, who cares? Edge and Balor. I mean, Balor's an awesome wrestler. Edge is an awesome wrestler. They should be pushing Balor more. He should eventually be one of those guys who's elevated to, the upper card and a guy who eventually challenges for a belt. I mean, hey, if he's going to still be on Raw and Cody's on Raw, Finn Balor versus Cody Rhodes, if you're not ready to pull the trigger on Balor for a title reign, that's a notable person for Cody to fight and beat in between, like, him beating Roman and him eventually fighting Seth, if what I think is going to happen is correct. So, I don't know. Oh, LA Knight is definitely a guy who needs to be in the title picture. If they don't have it be Gunther, I would not mind it being LA Knight being the last, the guy who ends up taking the belt off of Cody. I mean, a lot could happen between when Cody wins the belt and Cody loses the belt, and guys could get, whatever, but, don't sleep on LA Knight. I think they have plans. I mean, I could only assume they have plans for a guy like that. He's got a great physique. He could work in the ring and he could talk. And you're starting to see them showcase him a little bit more. So I do think that there is life for LA Knight in the WWE eventually. Am I missing any matches? Is that pretty much it? Right? That's it, right? I talked about, the men's tag match. Men's tag match, women's tag match. Yeah, there's a lot. That might work out. All right. Supercard of Honor is going to be this Friday. Actually, let me pull up that card right now. See who's in it. There we go. Supercard of Honor 2023. Let's see what the lineup is. So the vacant Ring of Honor tag belts, which we just found out today, there's going to be redesigned Ring of Honor tag belts. They're calling it the Reach for the Sky ladder match, obviously because the Briscoes were the last ones. Less than almost. Couldn't give a shit. Could not give a shit. That was the other match I forgot. Obviously, they're calling it the Reach for the Sky ladder match due to the fact that the tag belts are vacated because one half of the Briscoe brothers died tragically. The tag teams in this ladder match are as follows: The Kingdom, which is Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, Aussie Open, Top Flight, Rush and Dralastico, and the Lucha Brothers. So it should obviously be an awesome ladder match. I'm very curious as to who comes away with the Ring of Honor tag belts. It might be the Kingdom. Who knows? I don't know. But it should be an interesting match. Ring of Honor World Television Championship match, a Samoa Joe versus Mark Briscoe. Very curious how that's gonna come out. I mean, Joe is an awesome champ. With him not having a belt, he's free to do a lot of other things. So, and because the potential with Samoa Joe is endless, him holding the belt or not holding the belt is still a win-win for me. The Ring of Honor World Championship match of Claudio Castagnoli versus Eddie Kingston. Like I said, I haven't been watching Ring of Honor, so I can only assume that they're probably basing it off of the long-standing feud that he's had with Claudio's sister Timon Chikara. So this should be an awesome match. Is this going to be the match that Eddie Kingston finally holds gold? Was my prediction just a little bit off? And instead of me saying that he was going to be a champion in AEW, he's actually going to be a champion of Ring of Honor? I don't know, but it's a possibility. The AAA Mega Championship belt match, El Hijo de Vikingo versus Commander. Commander obviously putting on a great showing recently. I think it was on AEW television or whatnot, so that should be an interesting match. We finally got to see what El Hijo de Vikingo can do on the national stage, so this should be a good match. I'm definitely interested. The last match I saw with him, and it was the first match I saw with him, fighting Omega, so I'm definitely interested in seeing this match. Ring of Honor World Six-Man Championship match. The current champions, the Embassy, are being challenged by AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metalik. So that is going to be the card for the March 31st show on Friday, being shown in California. And then obviously WrestleMania Night 1. Let me see if I can pull up the Night 1 card. WrestleMania Night 1. Let's see. Oh, the Rollins and Jake Paul match. I always forget about that match because I fucking hate Jake, whatever the fuck his name is. Let's just go through this card. God damn it. Logan Paul. There we go. Okay. So Night 1 card, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. It should be a good match. I fucking hate Logan Paul. I don't like celebrities in wrestling. I don't care how good he is. I don't like him. All right. And it's just like, I can't get by. I can't do it. I forgot. Austin Theory versus John Cena. That should actually be a very interesting match. I'm definitely down to watch that one. The women's tag match is going to be that night. I guess the tag match for the... Really? This website didn't have the card for night 1? Lame. Let's see. Oh, and Finn Balor and Edge is a Hell in a Cell. Cool. Let's see. Nothing could just straight up tell me what night 1 is. Jesus H. Christ. 39. Night 1 card. Oh, it's 39. We're at WrestleMania 39, right? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Night 1 card. U.S. title on the line. Austin Theory versus John Cena. Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, and Lita versus Damage Control. Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. That's all going to be on night 1? They're not going to do the tag match on night... They're just going to do both of the blood... Or they're going to do all the bloodline matches on one night. Interesting. All right, not bad. I guess it doesn't spoil anything except spoil something like overnight. Just spoil something for that night. All right, fine. Fine. That works out. So yeah, it should be a great weekend. A great weekend of wrestling. Actually, international break for soccer ends also that day. So freaking all my teams are going to be playing, both Arsenal and Barcelona and New York City Football Club. So packed day for me. All right, let's get to Dynamite. Stuff is definitely being put in motion. for future storylines. Obviously, the next pay-per-view that we are looking forward to is the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. So tonight's card was the IWGP US title was on the line. Kenny Omega defends against Jeff Cobb. Matt Hardy versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Dalton Castle and the Boys versus the Blackpool Combat Club. Willow Nightingale versus Ruby Soho. Orange Cassidy puts the international title on the line against the Butcher. And the main event for the night is the returning Adam Cole from a 9-month hiatus after his concussion, fighting the Jericho Appreciation Society's Daniel Garcia. So we're going to start off tonight with Jungle Boy and Matt Hardy. This was a solid match. Obviously, they want to have Jungle Boy get wins on television to start building the fact that he wants to fight MGF for the championship. I think we all think that we know this is going to end in some sort of four-way, a Double or Nothing. And to be honest, to see those four guys in the ring in a fatal four-way is going to be fucking awesome. I think Double or Nothing is going to really, really be good. So they got to get him wins on TV. So, he fought Matt Hardy and beat him, a guy who could take a loss, and who's notable enough that people are like, oh, okay, cool. So the real thing after this was the post-match segment. Basically, MJF came to the ring, said it was a Kanye move by Jack Perry to interrupt his bar mitzvah. That has so many different layers. MJF said that the Jungle Boy had the audacity to say that he had it easy in AEW, that MJF had it easy. And he agreed. He said he barely wrestles. He collects fat checks. He takes a private jet to the beautiful Long Island, New York, and he promoted the show that's going to be happening in my hometown of Long Island, New York next week, which I will be there in person, having some fun. He said that that Jungle Boy gave his blood, sweat, and tears to the fans, but they never thanked him. He never got an opportunity either. He said that when MJF and Jungle Boy wrestled at Daly's place for Double or Nothing during the pandemic, MJF realized he might have met his equal. He said that MJF gave Jack Perry advice. He said to ditch his friends and look out for himself. He said that that Jungle Boy shouldn't have been hanging out with Marco's stunted growth, Dino Douche, and Christian. He definitely poked a little bit more at Christian, because Christian was the guy who betrayed him. Actually, so did Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt just dipped because they let him go. So he said 3 years later, MJF is holding the world title while Jack Perry is still just the Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy called MJF a selfish, narcissistic piece of shit. He said he's going to become AEW World Champion his own way. Not waking up, and he's not going to be waking up alone, hating the person he sees in the mirror every day. MJF congratulates Jack Perry for taking 4 years to learn how to cut a promo. He calls him weak, brings up Jack Perry's real life girlfriend, who's Anna Jay, and said he said that that she told MJF that Perry was weak between the knees. And pretty much that set off Jungle Boy. He started landing blows. They started fighting one another. Jack Perry was about to unleash the bullhammer, and MJF ducked out of the ring and escaped. So definitely building up some momentum between Jack Perry and MJF. So we'll see where that goes. Alex Marvez is backstage at the request of Don Callis, pretty much telling Kenny Omega that he lost his balance last week with Hangman and that he wanted to apologize to Hangman. This obviously soothes my concerns with the whole, why is Don faking falling on national television? So thank God they're smart enough not to have gone that route completely. He said that he questions why Omega would trust Paige and not him after everything that's happened between them. Callis said he's going to go find Hangman and make things right. Omega continued to get his body taped up before the match, selling an injury angle with him. So the angle that they're running with Omega right now is that he's distracted and he's hurt. So we'll see where that goes. They had a video package of Matt Menard and Angelo Parker taking the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass out for a night on the town. They went to a hockey game. They went to carousel rides. They had a big dinner. They made a pitch for the Acclaimed to join the JAS. They said it was all paid for by Chris Jericho, and the Acclaimed said they have their answer next week. So I guess we'll find out whether or not the Acclaimed are going to join the JAS at Long Island. So I'll find out there live. Trios match, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta defeated Dalton Castle and the boys. This was pretty much a squash match. The Castle and the boys got attacked on the ramp right before they even got to the ring. They rang the bell. They destroyed one of the boys. 1, 2, 3 pin. The end. They had a video package highlighting Kenny Omega and Jeff Cobb, showing all the times that they had squared off against each other and interacted back in New Japan. Alex Marvez, who was a very busy beat tonight. I guess Renee had the night off. Alex Marvez was backstage with Hangman, who said that Nick Jackson has a separated shoulder. Matt Jackson has a partially torn bicep, which I actually think the partially torn bicep portion for Matt is actually partially true. Marvez asked to attack them. Paige said it was the Blackpool Combat Club. It was funny. He meant to say the BCC. He said the BBC, and you could tell people in the audience laughed. Idiot. Don Callis enters the screen. He apologizes for falling down last week. He extends his hand to shake Hangman's in a moment of like forgiveness or whatnot. Moxley, Castagnoli, and Yuta came, attacked Paige. Callis tried to offer his hand again, knocked out by Moxley and was busted open. So the Blackpool Combat Club is running roughshod over fucking everybody. Before the IWGP match, Shivani goes up to Omega, tells him that Don Callis has been attacked, which Kenny was pretty surprised at. So we're now the second week in a row where Kenny receives bad news before a major match, and yet he's still won. So I'm curious to see as to where this is all headed with Omega. I know that Matt Jackson is injured, so I don't know if they're going to hold off on this storyline until they think he's healthy enough to compete. I don't know if this is going to be a storyline where Omega eventually goes solo. There's other stuff we need to talk about tonight as to what actually happened on Dynamite, so I'll get into a little bit more of that later. Actually, I'm going to get into that right now because we're about to talk about Kenny Omega defeats Jeff Cobb to retain the IWGP US title match. This was a great match. Obviously, Jeff Cobb is a phenomenal wrestler. Kenny Omega is one of the greatest wrestlers alive. Had an awesome match. The big story in this match obviously was Omega with the injuries, trying to beat Cobb. Cobb obviously being a bigger, more powerful opponent for Omega. So Omega having those injuries is definitely for him. It was definitely made it difficult for him to use his power game at all. Obviously, he was able to overcome in the end by a one-winged angel for the victory. Moxley, Castagnoli, and Yuta hit the ring. They surround Omega. Omega obviously selling all the injuries and the battle that he had with Cobb, trying to see if he could, get himself standing so he could defend himself. All of a sudden, we hear Bryan Danielson's music. He comes out. He clears the ring out from every. He doesn't clear the ring out. He goes into the ring and basically calls off the dogs. Tells Blackpool Combat Club to stand down. After that happens, we see Danielson extend his hand. It helps Omega up. Omega runs towards one of the ropes to stop Yuta from coming in. This has him turn his back to Danielson. Danielson goes and hits him with the Busaiku knee and then puts him in the LeBell lock as the Blackpool Combat Club stomps the hell out of him. Nakazawa and Cutler run to the ring to try and help out Omega. They were quickly disposed of, and they left Omega lying. Danielson is back with the Blackpool Combat Club and now a fully heel faction. This puts them in direct conflict with the Elite. I don't know whether or not this is supposed to be a storyline aiming to... aiming to do the long-awaited reunion between Hangman and the Elite. But with Matt Jackson injured, I'm not really sure how this is going to come about. Um, they showed a video package of FTR challenging the Guns for the AEW titles. This match will be held next week in Long Island. So FTR versus the Guns for the AEW tag titles. If FTR loses, they are leaving AEW. So this will also give us an idea of what's been going on with FTR's contracts to see whether or not they're going to be leaving the company and going free agents, maybe leaving the company and not doing any wrestling at all, or going to another promotion like maybe New Japan or maybe the WWE. Who knows? So we are going to find out a lot about the future of the tag team division with one of the biggest and most popular tag teams they have possibly leaving the company. So who knows? Orange Cassidy defeated the Butcher to retain the AEW International title. I'm not going to lie, a majority of this match was all in picture-in-picture and during the commercial break, so there's not really much to talk about. Orange Cassidy comes away with the victory. Jade Cargill has a video package talking about how Taya Valkyrie laid out Layla Gray and Mark Sterling with the Jaded, breaking Sterling's nose in the process. Valkyrie has a match on Rampage. Sterling will have his legal processor to handle things, so I guess this is leading towards a match between Taya and Jade. I don't think that Taya is going to be coming away with the victory. I still do think that Statlander is the one who they're going to have take the belt off of Jade. She's already an established person in AEW. It's someone who hasn't held the belt. People really want to see her win. It's just the injury that kind of waylaid this, so that's what I'm leaning on. Do I have any insider information? No, it's just my intuition. Juice Robinson talks about his match with Axe and Andretti. They're going to fight on Rampage. He says that every punch he connects is going to be a statement for Ricky Starks because Juice Robinson and Ricky Starks are going to be fighting in Long Island next week. Ruby Soho fights Willow Nightingale and wins. Who cares? The interference in the match was fucking stupid. I'm not really a big fan of Willow Nightingale. I'm not a big fan of this storyline to begin with. At the end of the match, they double team Willow. Riho tries to come in for the save. She ends up getting destroyed. Jamie Hayter comes out for the save. She clears the ring. This sets up the match: Jamie Hayter versus Riho next week for the AEW Women's Title. So yeah, but the whole thing with the Outcast is really fucking lame. It's honestly, I skip it every single time. They show a video package highlighting Hobbs beating Penta. He says the TNT title's never leaving his waist. They had, and now for the main event, Adam Cole defeats Daniel Garcia in his return match. Really great to see Adam Cole back in the ring. Very solid match. Doesn't look as rusty as I thought it would be. He actually looked pretty sharp and crisp in the ring. Daniel Garcia was a great matchup for him. It was able to showcase all the things that Adam Cole did. It was a great kind of clash of styles. Adam Cole's a little bit of a hybrid of everything. And kind of in a way is Daniel Garcia, except he leans a little bit more towards like the submission-esque kind of stuff. So I thought it was a great match. I like the fact that this is now setting up a potential showdown between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. I think Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho is a fantastic feud. This is perfect feud for Adam Cole. It's anybody who beats Chris Jericho in AEW, it should be made a big deal of because they protected Jericho so much and he loses so rarely. I think that this is going to be a match that we're going to see at Double or Nothing. I do expect Adam Cole to win. I do think that once he wins that, he's obviously going to move on to another storyline, hoping involving a title. Maybe not the title, but it's possible he could challenge for the international title. It's possible he could challenge for the TNT title. He could even challenge for the AEW title, depending on how they're looking to book MJF's reign moving forward. Sorry, guys. I apologize. But, yeah. Now, this is also... Britt Baker comes out and they hug and there's confetti. Obviously, this is going to be something on probably a future episode of AEW All Access, which is airing as we speak on this podcast. So, yeah, that's supposed to be. And I'm very interested to see if it's good. I have it DVR'd. I'm going to watch it after I'm done here and check it out. Definitely, I think that documentaries are a great gateway into the actual sport or thing you're looking to get into. For example, one of the reasons why I'm an Arsenal fan is because I was watching All or Nothing on Amazon, and there was a season about Arsenal. I mean, granted, there was also seasons about Man City and Tottenham Hotspur and Juventus, But through that documentary, I kind of like felt a connection to the team, and that's why I ended up rooting for them. Little did I know that the following season, which is this season right now, they would be going on the roll that they are. I'm actually watching right now a Drive to Survive because I wanted to take an interest in Formula F1 racing. And I've heard from all the fans that this is a great way to get into the sport. It's got multiple seasons, so that's definitely something I'm looking to get into. Another reason I got into soccer also was because of Welcome to Wrexham. I was really into the team and curious as to whether or not they would survive, and I got interested and invested in the storylines that they were creating within the team. So definitely, I think that if they get eyes on this show, it's a way that possibly people could get into professional wrestling. As odd as that might sound, I know a lot of people are just like, oh, reality TV show, really? I mean, a behind-the-scenes reality TV show nowadays is a very different deal because right now it's one of the best marketing tools to use to a casual audience because now you're seeing the real people and now you're seeing the show and then you want to watch the show, but you're also invested in the real people. So it's it does increase the immersion between the casual fans and the product. Now an argument could be made that shows like Total Divas and Total Battle and Total Bellas and whatnot did affect the ratings in regards to women that watch WWE. So, you know, it's not a bad thing to invest in a show like that because it really does bring eyes to the product. Now, as a wrestling fan, obviously when you hear, oh, they're going to come out with another hour show, you want it to be a pro wrestling show and be formatted like a Raw or a SmackDown or a Dynamite or an NXT. But, and I know people were disappointed that it was a reality show, but I really do think that this could be a positive for the company if done well. You know, obviously AEW is also getting another 3rd hour television that's going to happen Saturday nights. They don't give hours of television to shows that they don't think are a plus to the channel. So, honestly, like for those people who think that AEW is in some sort of trouble because their ratings haven't been over 1 million, I mean, they gave them this 3rd show while they were averaging 900,000 viewers. So, I mean, what does that tell you? The card for Rampage, this Rampage I'm actually going to watch. Sammy Guevara takes on Konosuke Takeshita. That should be an amazing match. Juice Robinson versus Action Andretti. That should actually be a good match. Best Friends fight Kings of the Black Throne, which is Brody King and Malachi Black. Taya Valkyrie fights for Marina Shafir. Next week's Dynamite as it stands, Jamie Hayter defends the AEW women's title against Riho. Ricky Starks takes on Juice Robinson, and it will be considered MJF Day. We are also supposed to hear from the Blackpool Combat Club, and FTR put their AEW careers on the line against the Guns for the AEW tag titles. So next week should be a packed show. I will be there. So guys, unfortunately, there will not be a show next Wednesday because I will not be home in time to record at our regularly scheduled time. So I do apologize. I will give you the my reactions to being there live next week on our the following week. So 2 weeks from now, you'll get my reactions to the live AEW show. We'll talk about the Dynamite from 2 weeks from now. And we'll also be talking about, we're also going to be talking about WrestleMania. So a lot is going to go down between now and the next time that I see you guys. There's a very strong possibility I might throw in a surprise show sometime next week just because there's so much going on. I don't want to add too much to my plate. It's a lot to talk about. But yeah, so guys, it's that time of the night where I say farewell. And then I go and I play Halo Master Chief Collection. And watch Snowfall. That's pretty much what I do when I'm not doing this. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank Doom. I want to thank Process. I want to thank Josh. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you guys in 2 weeks with a recap of WrestleMania. A recap of the next 2 weeks of Dynamite, a recap of Supercard of Honor, a recap of the Raw after Mania and the SmackDown after Mania. So there is going to be a jam-packed episode in 2 weeks, guys. It will be worth the wait. I will try and make a vlog of what happened if I can figure out how to stream that whole thing. So, that's a good idea. I will see if I can take some footage of me at the show and have that next week. So, I want to thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you to my loyal followers. Obviously, I know all you guys from my chats and whatnot, so I appreciate you guys tuning in every Wednesday to hear me chat it up, talk some shop with y'all. Thank you very much. I will see you in 2 weeks. Take care.